Did they make
No,
contact?
I don't know. It's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Right
Look
there.
at this.
Moves
Wow.
him to win it. Carl Edwards bump and dump and run.
Here comes Gordon right up to the bumper again. The bump and run.
There it is.
Maine to really turn around, Maine to rally his cage up.
Yeah, welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael D. White, joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Riley and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Tyler Reddick type of weekend. He was the big winner at Road America for the Quick Trip 250. And if you're liking the show, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, follow us on Twitter, Bump the Letter and Run Pod on Twitter. Check us out every Monday night, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and more. And check us out on YouTube every Tuesday morning. We're recording Tuesday afternoon. Hope you enjoyed the holiday weekend. Hope you enjoyed your 4th of July. And I hope you enjoyed the Cup Series race at Road America. I know I did, but how about you guys? How you feeling on this holiday weekend Tuesday? Eric, you're not looking so hot, bud.
No, I actually took an extra day off of work today. The old back went out on Sunday morning.
Oh no!
Was out laying on a blanket, stargazing. You know, just laying there, minding my own business, enjoying the 4th of July weekend, and went to go get up off of the lawn, and my back said, "I don't think so." So 32 is coming in hot and heavy, and
oh yeah.
I'm over here struggling with the lower back issue. So not doing the greatest, but did witness and have a good time earlier in the day on Sunday, witnessing that Road America race go down this weekend, which was it was quite a race.
Oh, it was indeed. I was at your house too, so I got to enjoy the race with everybody up there, and it was super exciting. How about you, Matt? How was your weekend? Is this your first official weekend in the house? Friday to Monday, right?
Second, but I was off yesterday. I took off today, so I had a 4-day weekend.
Nice
to give myself, enough time to kind of settle in, finish unpacking, finish, making runs to Home Depot and stuff. And I'm still nowhere close to being done doing what I need to do around here. But, in between the breaks, in between the moving, I took breaks to watch the race, to hit a couple 4th of July parties up. So there's always time to celebrate this nation's birthday and enjoy ourselves. But it was a lot of work again this weekend. So I think that's going to be the way it is for a while.
Oh yeah, what do they say? There's some saying about home ownership and all that. I can't remember what comes to my mind. Just make sure you trim the lawn and you throw some rock salt out for the mailman in the wintertime, right? Something along those lines. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm learning that at a rapid pace right now. It's been nonstop, but it's nice. It's nice to, once you get stuff done and you do your running around, you can take a couple seconds to look back and see the progress coming in the house. It's nice, but yeah, just very busy.
You got that honeydew list just growing by the day, checking off all the things you got to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I'm glad you guys survived the weekend. I know Eric's having a rough one. I had a great weekend myself. Of course, went to Eric's for the race on Saturday. Went to some family friends on Monday Saturday. And you want to know what? I was talking to them. They were asking about the podcast here and everything, and they kept saying like, "Oh, we love the F1 series on Netflix." They don't give a shit about motorsports. Never cared about cars or anything growing up with them. But them, their wives, they all watch the F1 show, which leads them to watching races. And I think we're really missing out on the NASCAR side. I don't think this Austin Dillon show is going to cut it. I'm sure we could go on at length about that, but it was just something.
This Austin Dillon show is setting us back.
Yeah, it really is. Did you watch any more episodes since that first one?
No. I gave it the one shot and I couldn't. I don't know if I told you guys this on last week's episode or if this was off.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even attempt it From what you told me, Matt, I'm like, I'll stay away from that
yeah,
one.
so I honestly, us three, for everyone listening, we have a Snapchat group, a text group, a Twitter group together. We're always sending each other information throughout the week about NASCAR and busting each other. And so I, honest to God, I'm at the point now where I don't remember if this is something I said while recording or if it's something that we texted each other. But I'll repeat it again. If I did say this last week, I did attempt to watch that Austin Dillon reality show on USA Network with my wife. We sat down and we literally got 12 minutes into it, 10 minutes into it. And I had to look at her and say, I'm done here. I've seen all I needed to see. It's just not for me. I'm not a big reality TV fan the way it is, but I thought maybe with NASCAR, I do like Austin Dillon. So I figured I got to give it a shot. I got to at least check it out. I didn't enjoy it at all. It's not for me. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll find an audience for someone. Maybe it will lead people to come to the track. I think you need that drama, that real drama between teams. Yeah,
we need something more serious. We need to stop making fun of ourselves here. We need to start taking ourselves and our sport more serious instead of this stupid parody stuff. We saw what happened with Fox.
Yeah.
Look at how that came off. They tried that shtick and it just doesn't work. We need to be taken seriously. And in order for that to happen, we need to put out some serious, TV and get people really invested and, always poking fun and pretty much punching down that doesn't work, man. It just makes us, it looks embarrassing.
We've got such a badass sport and there's so many great storylines behind the scenes with the drivers, the crews, the owners. There's so many great stories. I mean, if you listen to Dale Jr.'s podcast this past week with Justin Marks, that's just one small example of how great of a story that guy has, working his way up to now almost pretty much the mountaintop of NASCAR, where you can absolutely make an F1 style documentary about it and have so many great storylines. There's true rivalries in NASCAR. There's people that don't like each other. There's drivers that don't like each other. There's crews that don't like each other.
Yeah.
There's owners that don't like each other.
Yeah.
There's so much. You don't have to manufacture anything. You don't have to make a funny show or a sitcom. You can actually, there's some real good gold to mine.
The story's writing itself. You just have to film it.
Right.
It's there.
Absolutely.
And
I think NASCAR will eventually catch on. I just hope it's not too late when they do.
That's the thing, though. I've seen documentary style series, especially on the Motor Trend Network. If you have Amazon Prime, sign up for the Motor Trend Network just for a month. I think it's $7 extra for a month. Cancel it after that. But there's a couple series. There's it's the Road to the Daytona 500, where it follows Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick, Corey LaJoie, and I believe someone else before the 2020 Daytona 500. And it was a really cool buildup in the offseason. They also did a series where it was kind of the whole entire 2020 season recapped episode by episode. And it was really riveting. The thing is, it's on Motor Trend Network, which, not a lot of people know even exists. We gotta put out the great content and kind of push it out to the masses somehow. And it kills me every time I hear someone talk about F1 because I'm like, man, NASCAR needs to be capitalizing on this style of stuff too. And just another example, just at a barbecue talking about it and seeing them excited about F1 and stuff. I'm like, man, we could be capitalizing over here too. And we're just not doing it. But I thought I would bring that up to you guys. I meant to tell you that just in general, and it slipped my mind until just now. So I guess that makes good radio podcasting, but other than that, how's your weekends? Just enjoying it. How's the dog in the with the fireworks there, Matt?
Oh, so he was a puppy. When he was a puppy, he didn't care at all. And now he can't stand it. It's not he's not the worst dog I've ever seen by far. Not the worst dog I've ever seen with fireworks, but he just barks and he doesn't really know exactly what's going on. I think it's the loud noises more than anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that also added to the weekend of just kind of calming him down. We gave him some sleepy medication to kind of just set his anxiety levels down. But he hates it. I love the 4th of July. It's one of my favorite holidays. I love fireworks, but for him, I'm kind of happy it's over. and I'm actually kind of happy that this baby isn't here yet either, because I don't know how
yeah.
infant would be with all the banging and booming, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy that's over with.
You guys wouldn't be getting any sleep this weekend. But I bring that up because we had to cut the celebration at Eric's house on Sunday a little short. I had to get back home to let the pup out of the crate and stuff. And but man, were we celebrating on Sunday after that Tyler Reddick win? I tell you what. But you guys want to jump into the race weekend? Start with some NASCAR news.
Let's hear it.
All right, real light news week. Kelly Earnhardt Miller, in an interview at SiriusXM last week, said Junior Motorsports is still looking for a pathway to the Cup Series, whether that be running a couple one-off races here and there. So excited to see what happens with that. We've heard Josh Berry, who runs for them now, is eyeing up a Cup ride. He wants to move to Cup eventually, so maybe that's the pathway for him there too. And speaking of the Earnhardts, NASCAR is trying to work out a deal with the Earnhardt estate to release some new licensed merch around the Intimidator, which I've seen popping up, Intimidator shirts. Doesn't say Dale Earnhardt, just says the Intimidator on it and stuff like that. So I wonder if that's their current workaround and whether they're working something out with Teresa to maybe put his name on some stuff. But what do you guys think about some new merch with Dale Earnhardt scenery? You think that's a good move?
Why not? I would like to get myself some more Dale Earnhardt merch.
I saw a pretty interesting poll on Twitter. It was either Twitter or Reddit, where it was like, who do you associate with the number 3, Austin Dillon or Dale Earnhardt? And the 34-year-old mind to mind, I'm like, of course it's Dale Earnhardt. But there's people who are watching that might be teenagers that they only know Austin Dillon in that 3 car, which it's crazy. It kind of blows your mind a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, you look at, we have the throwback weekend at Darlington, and look at how much people love that and all that old vintage merch. So yeah, you start putting out some real cool Dale Senior stuff again. I mean, that's easy, moneymaker there, going to fly off the shelves. And it's definitely popular amongst the fans, and it's a legend of the sport. So why not continue to grow his name, who grew the sport that we all love.
Yeah, I agree. Even you just look at fashion now. All those early 2000s NASCAR jackets are huge and stuff. So just to get the imagery out in the general public, I think is great for the sport too. Talking about growing it with docuseries, you can do it just with t-shirt sales and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty interesting. But that's all I have for NASCAR news. I don't have a NASCAR history this week, so do you guys just want to jump into the race weekend?
Yeah, let's do it. I think it was a pretty important race weekend for one of us here.
Oh yeah. So like I said, Saturday I was at an old family friend get together, so I didn't get a chance to see the Xfinity race. Matt, you were talking a little bit about it. I don't know if you saw the whole entire thing, but if you missed it, Ty Gibbs led 3 times for 5 laps. He beat out the defending Cup champion Kyle Larson. Larson led 31 laps, so it was looking like Larson was going to run away with it. Matt, did you get a chance to see the end of the race?
I don't know why, but Saturday feels like it was 14 years ago.
Honestly, before I logged on, I'm like, I feel like I haven't done this podcast in a month.
Right.
There's something about it.
I want to say yes, I did. I know I definitely saw it, but I don't even remember where I was on Saturday. I know I saw the beginning of it, and then I saw the end of it. There was a chunk that I didn't see. Yeah, I did. I did see the end of it. I don't remember where I was though. I definitely know I saw the end of that race.
Well, glad to know that the ending was memorable. From what I heard, Ty Gibbs passed Kyle Larson pretty clean. Earned a lot of respect from some people that have been dogging him lately for some of his actions.
That's what. Okay, it all came back to me. So we were going up to the baseball game, to the Rail Riders game, and we had to leave. We were meeting her parents up there. My in-laws up there, so we had to leave. So Steph was driving while I was watching it on my phone.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where I watched the end of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Eric, you were up at Peach Festival, right?
Yeah. I was up at Peach Fest, so I didn't get to see anything on Saturday up there on the mountain. Watched some good music. Been a long time since I saw some live music, so had myself a day up on the mountain there, so I didn't catch any racing on Saturday.
Yeah, I missed it too. Holiday weekends, man, are really tough, but big congratulations to Ty Gibbs. What is that, win number 4 or 5 on the season at this point? Something like that. If he's not in the championship 4 come playoff times, like, I don't know. I don't even know what to begin. But, man, Sunday.
Any news on Gregson? What happened with that bullshit? Because I saw the latest that I saw was maybe 2 hours ago where I think the president came out and said all options are on the table right now. A fine, points, deduction.
Oh, see, I heard they weren't going to do anything. Maybe they're changing their mind. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, although I think it was a chicken shit move on his part, I hope they don't do anything.
Yeah.
Let them handle it let them handle it. I know Sage Karam isn't a full-time driver or anything, but I mean, a lot of other guys got destroyed in that wreck. So if they want to handle it on the track, handle it on the track.
I know usually Tuesday is when that stuff comes out, and I didn't see any news
what are they gonna slap
on
him
it.
with, though? What could they possibly slap him with?
I'm not exactly sure.
Driving, it's not.
I don't know. I mean, I guess because I would, if anything, I would say points they would take away because he took points away from the drivers that he got into those wrecks. So he cost those drivers points. Maybe they would take points from him.
Well,
that would be the only thing that I could see being acceptable in any way.
I just thought
it was interesting because it was pretty wild.
Let's hold that conversation because we're gonna get into it in a little bit, regardless. But Sunday, finally got it done. My man Tyler Reddick finally put together a race to get the win.
Hey, Whitey, look at my eyes. Now this is a little inside joke for all of our listeners who have been listening going back to
Since
our first
last season. Yeah.
Whitey, look at my eyes.
Yeah.
Congrats, brother. I told you it was going to happen.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a great day. Tyler Reddick led once for 16 laps. The race lasted 2 hours, 35 minutes, 51 seconds. We saw 2 cautions for 2 laps. Those are stage breaks. 8 lead changes among 6 different drivers. Your top 5, Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, and Daniel Suarez. Tyler Reddick, man, getting it done clean. I saw a couple salty Chase fans. Matt, I'm glad you're not one of them.
No, dude. I told you when it happened. I said he got around him clean. He's gonna go win this race. Congrats!
Oh yeah,
battled hard, man. They battled hard.
They battled hard, and that's all you want to see. I don't care. Even if Chase didn't have a win going into Sunday, and he gave up the win. I know he dominated all race, but Reddick was better towards the end. The better car ended up winning at the end. I don't like that whole for everyone who doesn't know, yes, I'm a Chase Elliott fan, named my dog after him. I love Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be lumped in with all the sore loser, salty Chase Elliott fans that are out there, because they are out there.
Oh yeah.
Congrats to Tyler Reddick. I hate that Chase Elliott fans are trying to take anything away from that win. It was a clean win.
For the most part, it was
each other's front. They both cut in front of each other twice, and I'm like, ooh, man! When they closed that gap to clear each other, when they slid across each other's front fenders, I'm like, oh my god!
Well, who was the first person to congratulate him when they interviewed him? Chase Elliott. He said so. Just all the nonsense from the fake Chase fans. Just don't pay attention.
You guys know how the Twitter crowd is. Other than that, it was a pretty positive outlook on the win. Everyone was very congratulatory, and I was super excited, man. I was getting nervous. I didn't think it was going to happen, to be honest with you.
Matt, I was busting him till the last lap. I'm like, 17 to go. I said, right here's where you see smoke coming out that fender. I go, he's gonna blow a tire here, and then they were 10 to go. I'm like, I said, look, is there water coming out of his hood? Is this car overheating?
Oh man.
I was busting him till the last lap. And you know what? We said it last weekend. I'm like, I got to start busting you more every time I bust, about Chase Elliott. There he goes. He wins on an oval. So you wanted me to bust you, and
Oh,
look
yeah.
at what happens. It works.
It helped too. Our good friend Robbie Shredder, he didn't play Tyler Reddick in fantasy this week. He said that's going to be the little good luck charm before the race, and sure enough, it definitely helped. At least, you know, I like to keep all that weird superstition going. It makes it enjoyable for me. In fact, now I have a new koozie I have to use. I was using my Dale Earnhardt koozie on Sunday. I was wearing a specific Tyler Reddick t-shirt, so now I know the formula. I got to go to Eric's house and watch the race. Just a lot of things, but no, it was super exciting. I was so nervous in the closing laps too. My hands went numb. I was holding a beer and I couldn't feel it in my hands. I think because I wasn't really breathing, you know, and apparently that's a sign of anxiety. I Googled it later on. Your extremities can go numb from like not breathing properly and stuff like that. So I was freaking out, getting choked up. I may have shed a tear or two with the closing laps, and then Austin Dillon's brakes explode, and I was losing my mind. I couldn't believe it.
What, though? Like a good teammate, he got off the track, he got on that access road, and the race kept flowing.
He did. I was waiting. I'm like, man, get to that white flag and keep on going, you know. And at that point, I was watching the times, and Chase was kind of falling back because he hadn't fallen back less than like a second and a half, and then kind of dropped 2-3 seconds. I was like, okay, now we're in a safe spot. You know, you just got to hit those marks and stay calm. But super exciting race at the end. If you're a Tyler Reddick fan, I don't know so much if you're a fan of anyone else though. So do you guys want to jump into the race grades and kind of see where we're all sitting here?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with Eric. What did you think of the race, man?
We talked about it before you left my house a little bit, and in the rundown that you send over.
I don't even remember. I don't remember the conversation after leaving your house, to be honest with you.
It was just I give the race a C. But it had a B+ finish. I think there probably was battles throughout the field. I know they went back a couple times to show some of the other battles that were going on while the leaders were battling, which was great on NBC's part to get back and check up on those battles. But and no fault to their own that the battle for the lead was just it was just too good to pass up there at the end. And other than that, I just thought the race was okay. You know, it didn't really produce any much drama and nothing really. It was just an okay road course where it hasn't produced better racing in the past. Yes. Was it overshadowed by one kind of battle in the front? Maybe, but I'd rather see it for the lead than 14th be the battle of the day.
Yeah.
But that's what you get sometimes. You get those races, and I'm glad we got the battle we had at the end there. But other than that, if there wasn't that battle, Chase kind of did run away with it for most of the race, and that's kind of what you watched. And I even went back and watched the highlight package, and most of it was just them talking about Chase in the front, and maybe he had issues here, and then up until Reddick on that last restart to challenge him, there wasn't any other car that got close to Chase all day. So to me, it was one of those, okay, some guy kind of ran away with it, and oh shit, we had a great finish at the end. So kind of a in between a C and a B+. Is just the finish. The finish was excellent.
Yeah, I watched the highlights package again today too, just to give myself a little refresher. And really, it was just, you know, this is the restart. This is Chase taking the lead and then kind of running away with it. I think the whole highlight package was like 7 minutes, and 3 minutes of that was like the final couple laps that they show. I think like the final lap and a half or whatever. But Matt, did you notice that during the broadcast too, where they kind of jump back and they go, hey, here's the battles you missed? Because I know in the moment, me, Eric, and everyone at Eric's house were really pumped about that, because like, I was like, oh man, that's genius to go back and show like, hey, here's how this guy got to here and here. What did you think about that?
I noticed that. I also noticed too, if somebody, because of course with it being a road course, if someone missed a turn, was off the track for whatever reason, got spun or whatever, and they cut over and they just showed the spin, they made it a point if it wasn't right then and there where they show the replay of what happened, they made it a point like, hey, listen, we're on something right now. We're going to come back and show you how that happened. And they always did. They never left you guessing. They never left you wanting like to know, like, well, I just saw the 5-car spin. How the hell did that happen? They just, because Fox did that a couple times. I'd hate to bring that up, but they did that a couple times this year where they would mention there's a wreck or there's a wheel going down pit road, and they just like didn't show it. Where NBC always made it a point, I've noticed, to go back and show you what's going on. And then again, I did notice the battles. They went back and showed as well. So it's everyone I've talked to, not just you guys, but a handful of other NASCAR fans that I stay in the loop with. Have all said, it's head and shoulders above with NBC as far as their broadcast and how good it is, how crisp it is, and how serious it is, and how much they help expose our sport in a good way.
Yeah, I really thought it was interesting, especially for a road course, to go back and say like, hey, here's something you might have missed. Just because there is so much going on. There's so many different corners. There's so many different things going on. I thought that was a really good move on NBC's part, to show that. But how about you? What was your race grade for the race on Sunday?
I'm right around where you guys are. I gave it a flat B. I thought there were decent battles for most of the race. Of course, the main one was Reddick versus Elliott, and watching them kind of hunt each other down at the end. It wasn't the most entertaining road course I've seen, but it absolutely wasn't the worst, and it was certainly better than Sonoma we saw a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like I said, that third stage battle between the 8 and the 9 was a lot of fun, and that's what I'll take away from this. And of course, it being Reddick's first win helps with that race grade for me. I know we're supposed to keep our emotions out of it, but it's hard to when you see a buddy so involved, so emotionally involved with Reddick, and we all know how much you've wanted that win for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
We want it for you because Eric and I have gotten to experience those wins with our guys, and you were still waiting to get that for the Cup level. So
yeah,
that, honest to God, that helped my race grade. It helped me enjoy the race that much more. And like I said, when the 8 passed the 9 and it was clean, I was totally okay with it. I said, he's going to go. If Chase is going to give up this dominating performance to anyone, I'm so happy it's the 8. And so, so it was, I enjoyed it. I'm a big road course fan, right? So it's hard for me to really say it sucked, but like Sonoma, if you're paying attention, the listeners, if you're paying attention, I think I gave it an F, Sonoma, an F or a D, where this one was at least a lot better than that. Just not the best.
I mean, thinking of dominating, how about just the drivers in general? What we saw with 0 cautions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, when was the last time? Like, if there's no stages, that race has 0 cautions.
I was thinking about that, too.
Like that's impressive in its own. That just goes to show you the level of talent that we're bringing to these road courses that this Cup field has nowadays. I don't know when the last time it would be that we had a race that just had 0 cautions. That would have been a full green race.
So the race was, think about this, the race was 2 hours and 35 minutes. One caution, they were saying, usually takes about 15 minutes.
Yeah, like 15, 20 minutes to go around.
If there's 2 cautions, the race is now over 3 hours long. So, I mean,
if we don't have the stages, that race is 2 hours long.
Yeah.
True.
Well, you want to...
That's true.
Well, no, because you want to know what the stages, they only did 1 lap caution for each stage, which I thought was a genius move too, just to keep the flow going.
On that, I had our buddy Bernie, listener of the show, came over to check out the house and everything, and he wanted to watch the race with me. So we were kind of bullshitting back and forth. So I didn't even notice that it was only 1 lap around when in between the stages.
Yeah, I didn't know until I looked up the score sheet and everything to get the data for the highlights, where it's like, 2 cautions for 2 laps. 1 lap of caution. Like, that's pretty genius for the length of it, because it's almost a 4 mile road course, right?
Somewhere around there.
That takes a long time to get around when you're doing 35, 40 under pit road or yellow flag conditions.
That was a long topic of discussion leading into the race. Like, what are they going to do going forward? But actually, we didn't even have to really worry about it that much this week.
But I think that kind of helped with the score too. And I also give it a C plus. I was on the fence between a C plus and a B minus. And I feel like the B minus was literally just my bias coming out where I'm like, nah, that was really like a C race and it's a plus because Reddick won. But I think what helped the race versus Sonoma was no cautions and it being done really quick, 2.5 hours, where it never got to that point where it was dragging on, and I think that's what a lot of races suffer from is just dragging on. And we'll get into that a little bit more during the pick a lane segment. But like you guys said, there wasn't a whole lot of battles, but the ones that did happen, they did eventually show us, which I really enjoyed. It was probably better in person, kind of like Sonoma. I feel like maybe Sonoma was exactly the same too, and we just didn't see the action on
I think
TV.
NBC had a lot to do with this race being better than Sonoma, being better. Just the package, just the way they presented it to me, it was better. Like, even if there was not the drama and the battles like going on, they made sure to go back and get it and like show you what was going on and not focus on that and leave you wondering. Because like that's where you could get the sense of it's dragging on. Oh my God, what happened there? How come they didn't show that? And then you have the sense of waiting for them to show it to you. And then you never get it. And like, oh, how come this doesn't happen? Then you're waiting for it again. And that, I feel like, helps you to like drag on. NBC, by them, like we just talked about, bringing that back, that takes away from the, I don't know, just that longing for an answer for something that you kind of saw, but the production didn't give it to you. So I think if this race was under Fox, I probably would have scored it worse.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm glad it wasn't on
I'm going to
Fox.
throw something out at you guys here. So this car, a lot of people say that this car was kind of designed to help the road course racing.
Yeah.
And do you guys think because of the talent level of all these drivers that they maybe made the car too good for road course racing?
Yeah,
where you're not seeing guys lose their cars as much. You're not seeing wrecks. You're not seeing out of control racing.
Yeah.
I'm nervous because we've got the Indy road course coming up left, in a couple weeks. And then we've also got Watkins Glen, both before the cutoff race in Daytona.
And we have the Roval in the playoffs too.
Right. Correct. Now Watkins Glen and the Roval candidly have been phenomenal. I think, my personal opinion, head and shoulders above the other road courses we've gone to. So I think those two will be the real good tests for this new car, the Indy road course. I guess it was an okay race last year. I mean, they had a lot of problems with the turtles and a controversial finish with Denny getting run off the track and all that. So
besides that, though, I think it was a good one. It was just moderate controversy at the end,
Right.
Yeah, those turtles really screwed everything up. Big
we'll have
time.
some good tests coming up here the next couple weeks as far as this car on road courses.
Yeah, I don't know, because even when I was thinking about the race and I was grading it, if Chase ran away with it, no offense, I think I would give it a D or an F, because then there's no drama and excitement at the end. Like the drama and excitement came from can he take the lead? Now, can he hold on to the lead? Can he not make any mistakes? Can a caution not come out? All that stuff, which kind of built to the excitement of it. And I think without that, then we're probably looking at an F or a D race, because it would have been a snoozer, because I don't know if the battles were in the back of the pack to really highlight, but maybe they were. Maybe they just weren't showing them too, because of the intense battle at the front.
Was that the nail in the Road America coffin?
I think it was. Personally.
For me, I think to go back to talk about this next gen car and what it's producing at road courses, I also think the tire that's on this new car is affecting the racing more than anything. I think the car is great. I think the car, it evens out the field more than anything and allows great racing. I still think something with this tire has to give a little bit more, as far as, to allow drivers to get a little bit more sketchy in the turns and spin out on their own and stuff. Granted, the tire's really good.
Yeah.
You want to have a good tire, but it's almost a little too good. And look at how many years Goodyear had to, manipulate and come up and design these new tires for each individual track. And, this track, we need harder tires and we need tire wear at these tracks. So, on this new rim and this new car, I just think they need a little bit more time to maybe develop a more intermediate tire,
just the softer compound to break down.
Just give them time to try new things on it. I just think the tire is very new as well as the car. And sometimes I think we wrap that all together when I maybe think that they're two separate things because they affect the racing so much.
Yeah.
I just think the tire maybe needs to have a little more evolution to it.
No, and tires are key too for making a good race. You want like a good amount of tire wear, and I feel like over the last couple of years we really haven't seen a soft tire that really gets chewed up. And even going to Road America, they were like, oh, it's a real aggressive asphalt being up in the north there. They have harsh winters.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Like it looked like it was gonna chew tires up and.
But I didn't really hear any tire fall off. I'd have to watch the lap times to really see the difference, but I think it was negligible.
Either that, or the stages weren't long enough to have that be a factor, and that's also could be an issue as well with stages. Instead of having stages, if that race ran green, you might have had a longer run where drivers were going a little bit harder and the fuel strategy might have been different, knowing that you weren't going to stop and get that at lap 15 and whatever. So that could have played a factor too.
You know what I thought was interesting too? You just reminded me when you said fuel strategy. They said on the broadcast, they don't really know how many laps these cars have worth of fuel. Like they have a good idea, but like with the old car, they had so much data on it where they knew to the lap when they were going to run out. And it doesn't seem like they do now. I wish maybe even some fuel strategy came into play where maybe someone ran out of gas on the last lap or something like that. What's up, Matt?
I do have a little bit of breaking news as we started recording here. Not sure if you guys saw it yet.
Okay.
But according to NASCAR and NBC, the teams of Christopher Bell and Bubba Wallace will swap pit crew members heading into Sunday's Cup race at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Really? That's pretty interesting. Yep. I think it's a bad move for Christopher Bell. I feel bad for him.
Like if you're Christopher Bell, like I'm snapping out.
Especially with Christopher Bell being on the cut line, and I know we'll get into that during the pickle lane segment. But yeah, I hate that for Chris.
It's interesting. It's just something that we're gonna want to monitor next week this weekend.
That is very interesting. I feel like Bell pulled the short straw out of the hand on that one.
Once again, that 20 car just gets screwed over. That's Joe Gibbs, doesn't give a shit. Same thing. You're just another fucking key, and you're just you're another piece of the puzzle, and they could either lose you and replace you at any minute.
Yep,
that's the truth. But yeah, that's all I have for the race grade. C+. Wish it was better, but I still enjoyed it. Thought it was a great race. A+ in my heart, of course.
That's right. That's all that matters this weekend.
But being objective, probably like a C+. Let us know what you think in the comments on YouTube, or hit us up on Twitter at @BumpTheLetterAndRunPod. Hit us up on the Facebook page. We want to know what you guys thought of the race.
Is that the nail? Let us know. What do you think that is the last race we see at Road America? Like, was that it? Like, are they willing to say we can let that go?
Yeah.
And bring a new race in.
If anything, I could see us going back in the Xfinity series, maybe the trucks, like we used to do. But I think with the Chicago street race,
where there's smoke, there's usually fire with NASCAR. The fact that we don't have a schedule release yet almost points towards them trying to fix everything up for the Chicago street course. I just think it's a matter of time before that gets confirmed.
And like we said last week, Road America doesn't have a contract beyond this year either. So it should be interesting to see. We'll probably see in a couple weeks or a couple months.
It's almost the same market too. I mean, Road America is only 2 or 3 hours north of downtown Chicago.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's within driving distance. So it should be interesting. But do you guys think we saw better road course racing last year because of the old Cup car? Because Matt, you kind of brought that up,
we had some great road course racing last year.
That's what I'm saying. I loved the road courses last year, and this year, like I had high hopes going into each one, and I've been a little disappointed, to be honest with you.
I think the
Last
field
year-
was closer together throughout the field a little bit more last year than it has been this year. I feel like certain cars have been able to get away this year on road courses, when last year it was more like
Yeah.
there was a little bit more beating and banging, I feel like.
Do you think maybe it's just certain people hitting the setup right out the gate, and then they don't have to adjust much, and then other guys, and that's why we're seeing big gaps? Or
I think it's just the car.
yeah, dirty air, that kind of deal.
So last year, I mean, if this isn't damning, the race grades that I gave, and I know you all usually float around the same area anyway. Daytona Road Course B+, Coda was a B+, Sonoma was a B+, Road America was a B+, Watkins Glen was an A+. The Indy Road Course, I put A+, then an F,
Yeah.
because of all the controversy. And then the Roval, I gave an A+ to. So we had some great road course racing last year. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's strange, we got all these road courses because the intermediates weren't producing that great of racing. Now we have a new car. The intermediates are exciting, and the road courses are kind of boring. It's kind of crazy how that goes. The paradigm shift in that one. But do you guys want to jump into the checkers and wreckers for the weekend?
Do it.
All right. Since we started with Eric for the race grades, we'll start with Matt. What's your checkers and wreckers for the weekend?
My checkers is going to Chris Buescher. He had a solid 6th place finish after losing a wheel last week and having a backup crew chief for this week. I saw he had, good practice, good qualifying, everything like that. I actually stayed away from him because I figured with the backup crew chief, maybe the strategies wouldn't be all there. And I was wrong. And
Well,
it wasn't a fluke either. His average running position was 9th. And then his driver rating was a 104.3, which was a 5th best driver rating for Sunday. So Chris Buescher had a hell of a day in that 17 car.
Normally I would be right there with you, where I'd be like, oh, backup crew chief. I'm not sure I want to play him, but Chris Buescher's team did a little strategy because they knew the importance of the crew chief at this road course. They decided to appeal the penalty to push off that suspension by a couple weeks.
See, I missed that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I missed that. Okay.
I believe that was a call they made a couple days before. It didn't get a whole lot talk about. I just heard it in the pre-race. I was like, man, that's a genius move, especially for a guy coming off of a top 5 finish at Sonoma a couple weeks ago. So,
right.
Yeah, no, I thought that was
either way though. He had a hell of a run. And,
yeah,
and he gets my checkers.
Yeah,
my wreckers. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, that I thought that was such a big brain move out of that team, like really thinking ahead. That was super smart.
Speaking of checkers, they're playing chess while we're playing checkers.
Yeah.
Hey.
What's your wreckers though?
That's one of those that's gonna stick with me for months.
Ah, this is a good one.
All right, so my wreckers. So it was hard to pick a wreckers for me this week. So after doing a little digging, I'm going to give it to Harvick and the 4 team in general, not just Harvick as the driver, but the 4 team in general.
Okay.
So they had a solid 10th place finish.
Yep.
But that's just not good enough if he wants to make the playoffs for a champion of our sport, somebody who everyone, including myself, holds in such a high regard. He didn't collect any stage points, and now he's hitting 20 points outside the cutoff line.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's got the 4th best average finish this year at a 13.1. So he's getting good finishes, but he's not getting the points. He's only got 65 of the fastest laps this season, which is 16th.
Yeah.
And he's only led 13 laps all season as well. That's just not good enough to make the playoffs right now. And I'd go as far as saying it's not deserving enough to make the playoffs at this point. So
I would disagree about the deserving part, and we might have to get into it during the pick a lane.
Okay.
But
we can get into it, but I don't think Harvick's done anything to deserve getting in the playoffs right now.
Right now he's sitting 11th in the regular points standings without playoffs. Like,
what good is it if he gets it? I don't want to. I know.
Well, yeah.
We'll wait to the pick a lane. We'll wait. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think he's putting in a deserving effort to get to like if you're sitting 10th, you should have no problem pointing your way into the playoffs. There's just been so many different winners outside of that top 16 where like you're just getting forced your way out. You know, Christopher Bell right now is 8th in points and he's sitting on the cut line, you know, and now they're throwing the Bubba Wallace pit crew at him. So I'm sure he's going to be falling right off that cut line.
Let's put a little bookmark in this conversation. We will pick this up right at this point.
Okay.
In the pit lane.
All right. Sounds good. How about you, Eric? What's your checkers and wreckers?
My checkers goes to just how short that race was. I loved it.
Yeah.
I just thought, you know, it's a holiday weekend too, so you don't want your whole entire day to be swallowed up by like how the Coke 600 is 12 hours long.
Yeah.
You know, you have time to interact and, you know, watch a good race and, you know, entertain and continue on and not have the whole day be consumed by a race. So it was nice to have a short race here and no rain delays and anything like that. So to consume a race that was only 2.5 hours was it was nice to have. So I had to give my checkers to that. And my records just goes to AD in those last 5 laps. Dude, you're battling for 14th. Like
he was battling hard for 14th too.
Like
your teammate's leading the race.
Right.
Yeah.
Read the room.
Yeah.
Read the fucking room, Austin Dillon. Like I'm standing there and like if I could have just recorded Whitey standing there and what he was feeling in those moments while watching Austin do that and just show Austin Dillon what he was doing to my good friend in my garage at that moment. It was just the most uncalled for thing. I felt bad having to witness my friend look like that while Austin Dillon's tire is almost exploding on the racetrack as he's going around towards the white.
And
Austin Dillon, you need to
get it together. and it wasn't even after like the brake exploded and we were nervous about the tire. It was like 2 or 3 laps before that. Like he was battling hard for position, like beating and banging, like dooring people. I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
That was sad.
Because I knew if we went to a restart, Chase is winning off the line. Like he's gonna win the launch off the line. He's probably gonna run away with it. You know, like I'm like, man, you gotta get it together. But yeah, no, I agree on that one. I couldn't even tell you what I was saying in the moment. I can't remember, but I know it wasn't great. You know,
not suitable for airwaves.
Unrepeatable. But that
he
was
so white. His face just went flush. Like. There was just nothing behind his eyes.
Dude, I told you my hands went completely numb. Like legit. Like that's not being hyperbolic. Like I couldn't feel my fingers.
I'm just gonna ask the question. Whitey, did you get drugged?
No, you wanna know what though? Here's the thing. So earlier in the day,
I did make a liquor jug.
No, earlier in the day, I got a big Starbucks coffee, and you guys know how I zoom on caffeine. Oh, yeah. So I drank a whole big Starbucks coffee. I was sweating bullets. I didn't eat anything. I didn't drink any water. I went to Eric's. I had 2 beers, and they hit me harder than anything in the world.
And it was 150 degrees outside.
It was hot. I didn't eat anything. It was just I was a disaster, But you want to know what? After the race, I got a nice sausage and pepper sandwich in me. I had another beer or 2 or a couple as a celebration, and I was okay by the end of the night. I was feeling great. But yeah, my checkers and wreckers, obviously, I got to give it to the 8 team, you know, just the whole team. From the jump practice, they were super fast. They qualified pretty well. Stayed in the top 5 the whole day. The pit crew, lightning fast. He made up time on pit road. He didn't beat Chase when they came in for the green flag stops, but he did come out right behind him, so that helped a whole lot to tighten them up and just executed from the drop of the lift gate to drop the car down on Saturday for practice, or Friday for practice and Saturday. Yeah, just a great weekend overall for the 8 team. Gonna give my wreckers to the 9 driver, not Chase Elliott, but the Xfinity Series 9 driver, Noah Gragson. Not so much for the move, because, you know, you push someone out of the way at a road course, but just for the aftermath afterwards. He took out Sage Karam, which is fine, I guess, but then I felt bad for all the other teams They got caught up in that huge wreck. Landon Castle, Brandon Brown, Tyler Reddick running for Big Machine Racing. A lot of small, newer teams just tearing up a whole lot of race cars. Just a lot. And it kind of like, I've grown to appreciate Noah over the last year. I really didn't like him a whole lot last year. This year, he's kind of grown on me, but still just a lot of maturing to do, a lot of judgment calls. And I feel like that was just a poor judgment call to get into him that way and try to wreck him that way. One, like, you door him completely. Like, you're going to mess up your car too. Just use your head when you're going to wreck somebody is all I'm saying. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that one?
I thought it was a chicken shit move. I mean, they were beating and banging, and I do see like Noah's side of things where it's like, Sage Karam, like, you're not even a part-time driver. You're like, you come here for a race or two a year. Like, what are you doing beating me up so hard? So I can see it from that angle, but I also see it on Sage's side of things. Like, maybe he wants to make a name for himself. So
yeah,
I'm kind of trying to be nuanced with this. I just don't understand. Like, dude, you're battling. You're in a turn. You're in a tight – Road America is notoriously tight. It's like a 2 or 3 lane road. Like, it's not that big. So if you spin a dude out and you're in the middle of the pack, you know there's going to be a disaster behind you. So I just don't understand what he was doing. I will say this though, if you go back and you listen to the Sage Karam interview, at once you get out of the care center, he ripped Noah, and there were some pretty, I don't want to call it funny, but just go back and listen to it, make your own opinion, but he ripped him pretty bad. Yeah.
I just like, my whole thing is like, you're running for a championship yourself, and you're going to get into a guy that, like, it doesn't matter for him, like, he's still finished in the top 10 in the end of the day, but like, he could have easily taken himself out of that race too.
Have a little self-awareness of what you are about to go through too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could let up yourself. Know where you're at in your season and what you have to do. Yeah, he's a no-name. Should he be there? No, he shouldn't. But at the same time, you should be the better man and know where you're at. So,
but even to that point, at one time, Noah Gragson was a no-name. Right. So like,
sure, but there's 2 other things that I would like to add to that too. And the one is, first of all, Noah, you're beefing down. Like, you're a championship title contender in the Xfinity series that you're running. So you're beefing down. Don't ever beef down. And 2, if I'm a Cup Series owner and I've got a slot open next year and I'm looking towards the Xfinity series and I'm weighing my options between Noah Gragson and driver X, and I'm weighing them,
Josh
and
Berry.
Noah Gragson is willing to do that and destroy my equipment and other people's equipment and make decisions like that, then I might go with driver X. So he's just got to think about his future a little bit more. I know we're kind of just, Monday morning quarterbacking this thing, and we don't know what kind of emotions are going on inside that car, but just got to make some better decisions. He's young. Like, we always go back to it, and I know it sounds like excuse making for him, but he's young.
Yeah. And
I don't know if I wouldn't have made a stupid decision like that at his age too.
It is really easy to forget how young some of these Xfinity and especially the Truck Series guys are. So I agree with that one. But I think you make a great point. Don't punch down, like, beef up, Right. But like, we've seen Noah wreck his own teammate for a win in Bristol last year or 2 years. Yeah, it was last year, I think. Right. So I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with Noah Gragson right now.
It's a very Kyle Busch-esque relationship with him. Like, there's times where I want to like him, I want to root for him, and then like he says or does something, and it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and it's like, come on, man.
No, I agree.
I thought after Junior had that little talk with him after his last little blow up, it was just funny. I was just telling PJ at my hunting cabin, we were putting the roof onto, like, he was kind of shitting on Gragson, and I'm like, dude, I think he kind of had a little talk with Junior, and he kind of sees the light and matured a little bit, and then here we go now again. So it's like
PJ has had a dislike for Gragson for years now. So it's funny that he's still going at Gragson. Yeah.
But yeah. All right, you guys want to go through some of the race notes? I don't have a whole lot, to be honest with you. One, I was drinking during the race, so I didn't notice a lot, maybe. So let's go over the top 10, maybe see something that I missed, maybe you guys saw. Second place, Chase Elliott, definitely had the dominant car the entire day until midway through that third stage. Kyle Larson in third, I thought he had a really solid run. I think he got into Ross Chastain at some point, and they lost a lot of ground, and that created a big gap between third and second place. I don't remember for sure though. Do you remember?
Chase bumped Chastain off the racetrack, kind of like same spot where Logano went off in front of Bubba, like almost in that same spot there. Yeah, they were just racing hard. Elliott or Larson was right on his bumper, and it just kind of momentum, nowhere to go, ran him off. He was able to get right back on. I think he only lost like 2 or 3 spots.
Yeah,
but it did slow everybody up at the time for sure.
Yeah, Ross Chastain, 4th place finish. Another great run for Ross and Trackhouse. Same with Daniel Suarez. He came in 5th. And in fact, he said he wasn't happy with his car going into the race, which I thought was interesting. They actually made it worse between practice and the race, but they ended up being able to adjust it for a good finish. So big congratulations on Daniel Suarez with a 5th place finish, backing up where he was in Sonoma a couple of weeks ago. Like Matt said, Chris Buescher, another solid run for that guy who just a few years ago really wasn't great at road course racing. Even his team owner, Brad Keselowski, in the pre-race, or maybe it was during qualifying, he's like, yeah, Chris says he's not good at road racing, but so far he's been doing really great this year. So good run from him. 7th place, Austin Cindric. I was a little nervous playing Cindric in fantasy because I feel like he has these flashes of greatness at road courses, but then the finishes really haven't been there. And I'm glad I played him this week. What'd you guys think about Austin Cindric? Not really a factor up front, but solid in the top 10.
I played him in fantasy. I played him in fantasy, so I kind of had my eye on him a little bit there. I kind of was in the same boat with you, thinking about how he didn't have the finishes, but now he's had a pretty good time in this Cup car, and I think he has enough experience where I trusted him to come out with a good finish here, and he's just one of those drivers where he does really, really well some tracks and then just shits the bed at others. And I think he's got a bright future ahead, and especially at road courses.
Yeah, and finishing the best out of the Penske 3. Blaney, I think, came in 12th, and Logano was way back in 27th, somewhere around there in the high 20s, which we're not used to seeing Logano back that far. But Michael McDowell, another solid run out of McDowell. That was Eric's pick to win last week. Didn't get it done, but if you bet him for a top 10, would have been a smart play.
He ran in the top 10 most of the day too, and I was hoping there to be like a caution or something, maybe where McDowell took 2 tires or something to get him up front and just get him a front row restart would have been interesting. But he had a shot up front to get it done all day, he didn't make me look like a complete fool.
No, definitely a good pick. Oh, that reminds me too. I believe we are in our betting segment are 5 for 6, picking the last 6 winners. We picked 5 of them. So if you're not betting with the Bump and Run podcast, you ain't making money, baby. AJ Allmendinger in 9th place, not much to talk about there. And then 10th place, Kevin Harvick. We already talked about him in the checkers and wreckers. Man, where was MTJ and Toyota at the road courses so far this year? Bell and Hamlin both had rough days. Bell used to be a super sleeper at road courses in fantasy, and man, just the finishes aren't there. I don't know, man. I wouldn't play Toyota at any road course for the rest of the season, I don't think. What do you guys think about Toyota and the road courses so far?
They've just been non-existent.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Something's going on there. We said it last week because they did great, at Nashville, where it's like they hit on certain tracks and they just fall apart at others. So, I don't know.
That's been most teams, though, all year at any given track, I feel like, with this new car, though. I feel like it's if you come off, you can either hit or you don't hit. And I think the only team that's been consistent with that has been Trackhouse for the most part, as far as coming off and firing at all cylinders, no matter what it is, road course, oval, no matter where they go. But I hear a lot on SiriusXM, these crew chiefs come on there talking about that, where it's, hey, it's nobody has old notes on this. It's, it's all a guess. They put one setup in, and there's not much that they could do to change it either. And, that's the difficult part. So I think next year is going to be an interesting year for me, which I know you don't want this to end already, but I'm already excited for next year once they have a little bit of notebook underneath them and a little bit of information where this racing is going to go.
Yeah, because right now they're showing up to tracks with setups that they figured out in the simulator,
Right.
And for the most part,
they don't know how it's going to run at all. Like it's a guessing game.
Yeah, for the most part, like it seems like it translates pretty well. At least it did last year with limited practice and qualifying and stuff like that, and in 2020. But like you said, they had those big notebooks. Now they don't have those notebooks to rely on. So yeah, it should be interesting next year. I'm excited. But that's all I have for the racing weekend. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to add?
Happy birthday to America.
Yeah, all right. And everyone loves to talk about the winner on a Monday, one Tyler Reddick. But here on the Bump and Run podcast, we'd like to talk about the guy who came in last place. And I had to do a little research on this one. Didn't recognize the name. Loris Heismans. A young driver out of Amsterdam running for Team Heisberg, who have an affiliate, I guess, with the Reume brothers. And
wait, are you making all this up?
I am not. I swear to God.
I've never heard of that name until right now.
Well, this was only
out of Amsterdam.
Well, this was only the second Cup race.
It looks like me behind the wheel.
This was only the second Cup race he ran until a fuel pump ended his day early. He raced a Cup car at Coda. He finished 34th that day. But he's ran a couple one-offs in the Xfinity series and the truck series. But apparently he's known for the European Wheelin' modified tour, maybe something like that. So coming over from Europe, I think he's like 23, 24 years old, a young driver. Coming out of the Netherlands, and then who knows, we'll probably see him at another road course coming up in the future. He's running for the team that Jacques Villeneuve ran the Daytona 500 for, so that's why you probably haven't heard of him. And they're doing like part-time stuff. I think even when Jacques ran in February, it was for the Reume brothers, so I think there's some subsidiaries and stuff, because it was Heisberg Team Heisberg powered by the Reume brothers, which I thought was pretty cool. Powered by, I don't know, it sounds pretty sick. It's like this hour music powered by the Bump and Run podcast. Download it every Monday night. BumpandRunPod.com.
Coming in dead last.
But yeah, so that was the last place. And that's all we got for the race weekend up in Road America. Mark it down. It's in the history books. Tyler Reddick, Cup Series winner.
Good.
Huh?
Maybe for good, it's in the history books.
Yeah. So who knows? We'll see what happens with the schedule coming up. We'll keep you updated with that, of course. But do you guys want to jump into the pickle lanes?
That choose cone out.
All right. The choose cone is out. I give you guys a topic. I've teased both of these. I only have two. And I think we kind of touched on the second one already for the most part. But the first one is the playoff system flaw exposed. We kind of touched on this a couple of weeks ago. Do we need to fix it? Right now, Christopher Bell sitting 8th in points, but he is on the cutoff line. 3 more winners, not named Ryan Blaney. And right now, currently sitting in second, Ryan Blaney could be on the outside looking in when it comes to playoff time. Now, I'm not saying we're probably going to see 3 different winners, but the reality is there. We have 7 races left. It could happen. Do you think we have a major playoff problem at this point? Or would we Ryan Blaney didn't make it in?
Pump the brake here, media person here. Major. I wouldn't say major, Mr. Clickbait there. Not by any chance is it major playoff.
I'm rooting for it. I'm rooting for it to happen.
I think there's little things that we could tweak here and there to make it better than it already is. I don't think it needs a major overhaul, but I love when shit like this happens and it exposes a current format, because whenever a current format gets exposed, it in turn creates an even better format.
Yeah.
So, everything comes to an end and everything gets exposed at a certain point that it's an angle you didn't think of. Because that's just the way life is. It just finds that weird way of producing things that you would never think would happen. So kind of like Matt, I'm kind of rooting for something wild like that to happen. But irregardless of that, I think we know now that it has been exposed, and it is even it being a possibility, I still think it's going to raise some questions. That's just NASCAR.
He's got the kazoo. What does he have the kazoo out for?
Are you saying life finds a way? I'm sorry, I had to.
I am saying life finds a way, and NASCAR and the point system will find a way to tear its own walls down in a way. But I think that just produces a better format out of that. You have to tear one down to make something better. So that's my take on it.
I'm hoping for chaos. I just want to see chaos. Right. I want to see it. I want to see
better for the sport.
I want to see 16, 17, 18 winners. We're not going to get that much, but
no.
I would like to see 16 or 17 winners, have somebody on the outside looking in, and let's see chaos.
But I would hate to be the second place person in points and not make it in.
That's what I'm saying.
That's where there's a huge flaw. That's where there's a huge flaw, because now we're taking consistency and we're throwing it right out the window for Blaney.
And
so we've got to change that up.
And that was my argument with Harvick, where you just said Harvick getting top 10s isn't enough to earn your way into the playoffs. But when he's sitting, he's sitting 11th in points in the regular season standings.
Okay, and he hasn't battled for one win. There's like 5 or 6 different drivers that have more laps led than he does that deserve to be in the playoffs more than he does. But
Denny Hamlin is still 20th in the regular season standings.
Won 2 races and he's battled for other wins.
And he's still 20th in the regular season standings. So you're saying that the consistency of 11th isn't good compared to Denny, who's sitting 20th, super inconsistent, but has 2 wins, so automatically
he's won races. He's won races. I don't know what to tell you, man. And with Blaney, Blaney's sitting second in points right now, but he's battling for wins. He's sitting in the top. He's getting top 5s. He's ripping these good consecutive top 5s, top 10s off.
Yeah.
Where Blaney's also getting playoff points, which is important. I'm sorry, stage points, which is important too.
Well, yeah.
Harvick's not getting that. Harvick's finding himself inside the top 10 late in races. He's not getting stage points right now.
They have long run cars.
Right. He's not fast enough right now. He hasn't battled for wins. He hasn't been relative. So no, I don't think 11th in points, just the way the cookies crumble there, is deserving enough for a playoff spot. I think Harvick needs to show, not me, he doesn't need to show me anything, but the NASCAR world, he needs to show the NASCAR world more. He's got to go get a win. That's obvious at this point. He's going to have to win.
Yeah.
I guess he can probably get in on points, but the way he's going right now, it's going to be hard.
I don't know, man. I keep looking Christopher Bell and Martin Truex Jr. don't have wins. They're sitting 7th and 8th in points. They're the 2 best Toyotas in the garage. And right now, Christopher Bell is sitting on the cut line and is possibly not going to make the playoffs. To me, that just seems outrageous, where these guys are having solid seasons. And then all of a sudden it's no, sorry. Cause the guy sitting in 17th, he's got to win. He wasn't as consistent as you were, but he's got to win. And I get it. Wins matter.
We agree with.
Yeah.
That part we agree with. I don't know. There's got to be, I don't know. And I know this segment's turning into a how do we fix it segment. And I don't think that was the purpose of it. But there's got to be a better way to do it. Cause you're right. Someone sitting in 17th with a win what is that doing? I don't think that person's deserving either.
Yeah.
There's got to be a different way.
I think Christopher Bell's more deserving of a playoff spot than Denny Hamlin. You know, that's just me. I mean, to be honest with you, because they're in cars coming out of the same garage, right? The same manufacturer, and one's sitting in 8th, the other's sitting in 20th, and the guy in 20th has 2 wins.
If Denny has 1 win, I'm agreeing with you, but Denny does have 2 wins.
Yeah.
It's not a fluke.
I know it's not a fluke. I mean, we all know Denny Hamlin's a world-class driver.
Christopher Bell hasn't challenged for a win yet. Yeah, he's been consistent, but he hasn't even challenged for a win yet. Name a race. Maybe I'm wrong, but name a race that he's challenged. He hasn't. You got to be able to show that at least you're capable of winning races.
Yeah.
And battling for wins, and he hasn't done that.
I just think it's super interesting where we're at a certain point in the season, and you're looking at these guys who have been, in the top 5, at least in the top 10 all season long. And they're looking at the regular season ending, I don't know, I don't know. It gives me an unsettling feeling, I don't know.
I think that's all part of it, to be honest with you. I've grown so accustomed to the feeling of getting ripped off as far as making it in the playoffs or not, via other sports too. There's other teams that they only lost 1 game, and you lose your first playoff game, you're done. I'm sorry, you're gone. Like, there's back-to-back years in the NHL when the number 1 seed, they lose in the first round. You're done. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you lost twice all year in the regular season, it comes down to right now, and if you can't do it, then you can't do it. So I think I've drilled that into my brain for so long that, hey, get used to it. Like, bad luck happens, shit happens. Like, yeah, you're consistent, but what is the big emphasis? Winning. Do you have one or don't you? And, that's why most times the winning is the emphasis, and why I get mad at my driver for not going for points, because they're going for that win, because they know if they're 21st in points, but they somehow squeak out a win during those 26 races, they're good. They don't have to worry about it. So, I could see it from both sides. It just depends on what emotional string you're pulling on at the time, depending on where said driver is at. Maybe you are rooting for. So, it does suck. But then again, we're talking about it. So it does cause drama all of it in its own. So is it fair drama? No, but does it cause talking points? Oh, hell yeah, it does.
Yeah. I maybe it's because I just feel like NASCAR never planned for this, like every year. Last year, we're like, oh, can this be the year we see 16 different drivers? And we're like, no. And then Larson went on a tear and won a whole bunch of races and kind of ended that conversation really quick. Right now, we're 18 races in and we have 13 different drivers. That's only 5 drivers with 2 wins each. Like, no one has more than 2 wins. I don't think NASCAR ever planned for this. So now it's kind of becoming a reality. And my whole thing is, I don't see anyone going on a crazy tear like Larson did last year.
This is the longest into a NASCAR season too that a driver hasn't hit a 3rd win yet, at least a 3rd win yet. That's insane.
Yeah. So I'm loving the parody, but now it's exposing a flaw in the playoff system where it used to be like, oh, 1 or 2 guys who probably deserve to be in the playoffs, they got knocked out. Now we're looking at 4 or 5 guys that probably deserve to be in the playoffs, they got knocked out. Like Eric Almirola, right now he's sitting 12th in points. Basically, you could go through the whole list. Almirola's out, he's 12th in points. And Eric Jones, he's sitting 18th in points too. Everyone else in between them has a win. But before this race, Austin Cindric's in 14th, Kurt Busch is in 15th, Chase Briscoe's in 16th, and Daniel Suarez is in 17th in the regular season points. Coming into this weekend, the only person that was in the top 16 in regular points was Kurt Busch, and he was in, I think, 15th. So you had guys like Austin Dillon and Eric Jones sitting around 15th, 16th. You had Tyler Reddick sitting around 13th, but they were pushed out because of all these different winners. Now the different winners are finally getting the points built up where they are sitting in the top 16 regardless in the regular season points without the playoffs. But for a while, it was like, man, these guys are sitting in like 20th and 21st and 18th, and they're taking up these playoff spots where it was a big chunk of playoff spots. That's just where my head's rolling the whole time, you know? I don't know. Tell us what you think in the comments on YouTube, or hit us up on Twitter at Bump the Letter and Run Pod. Hit us up on Facebook. I want to know what you guys think. Maybe it's something we just have to revisit later on down the road near the end of the regular season and just see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens. But like we said earlier, the Choose Cone's back out. 2 hours, 35 minutes. We saw a really nice quick race. It didn't have the chance to drag on. Is this the race length NASCAR should be aiming for every Sunday?
I loved it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours. You don't want it too short either, right? You know,
No.
You look forward to a race all weekend. You don't want it to be over in 2 hours and 15 minutes. But yeah, I think that 2:45, 3 hours is right around the wheelhouse that I would like to see.
Yeah. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, within that, I mean, look at other sports is within that 3 hour mark. So if you get within that 3 hour mark and get away from the, those 4 hours, 3.5, consistent at that 4 hour mark, you get away from that. I think it would help. But part of me, and I don't know if this is just something that I think is going to affect it too. Like, I think the stage times affect it as well. So if you want to like shorten a race, I think the stages then become an issue too. Cause like we had a 2.5 hour race, but it didn't produce great racing. Now, if we had a 3 hour race and we had those stages 25, 25, 50,
Where it shook things up.
where you were forced to have to come for fuel. Like,
Yeah.
I think that matters a lot of the times too, not just the overall time of the race. The stages in between a length of a race, I think that really affects it.
Yeah, you need it to be long enough where we start seeing, an issue with fuel.
And
all
green,
that.
you need green flag
You need to have
stops.
that drama that's added into the race, because if it's too short, if the stages are too short, we'll just wait to the end of the stage to pit. Now,
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what we got on Sunday was let's just run it and we'll stop. You didn't have to plan at all, essentially. And because there was no other road cautions to throw a wrench in it, it just ran as it ran. And I really don't think the crew chiefs were ready for that as well.
Right.
Yeah, I think we only saw one green flag stop. That was in the third stage. And typically that's kind of how usually it is. You don't see a green flag stop in the middle of stage 1 or 2. But you make a great point that I really didn't think about. I love the short time, but I would hate to miss the strategy involved in a little bit of longer race. So
as long as they could fit that in and know that it would throw a wrench in, whatever time that is. And I think that is that 3 hour mark. I think you could get the stages enough to start messing with those fuel windows just a little bit.
Yeah, shorten stage 1 and 2 to make up the difference, make a super long stage 3. I think that's the way to go. But yeah, that's all I have for Pick a Lanes. You guys want to jump into the next weekend preview? We are done with Road America, and we are headed down to Atlanta and Ohio. Saturday, trucks are heading to Mid-Ohio for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 150. That happens 1:30 on FS1. And then Saturday, 5 p.m., Xfinity will be on track in Atlanta for the Alsco Uniforms 250 on USA. And then, of course, Sunday, 3 p.m., Cup Series on track in Atlanta for the Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart. That is also on USA. And because now Atlanta is kind of a merger between an intermediate and a super speedway, we will not have practice, just qualifying. It'll happen 11:35 Saturday morning. And to go over the picks from last week, let's see. Matt, you picked Christopher Bell. He got you 19 points. Usually, I tell you, Christopher Bell usually a sneaky pick for a road course. Disappointed in his performance this past weekend. Eric picked Michael McDowell. He got you 29 points. And I picked the winner, Tyler Reddick. He got me 41 points. And like I said earlier, this is our fifth of 6 wins in a row that we picked right. And if you go back even further, we are 6 for 9 starting at Darlington on Mother's Day weekend. So the Bump and Run podcast betting crew on a little bit of a hot streak. So I don't know. Atlanta's a hard race to handicap, though. We'll see how we do. Matt's got the stats we need to figure out and make an educated guess on who might win. No practice, of course, so we can't go off that. Maybe qualifying a good indicator, but I will go last. Oh, yeah, I'll go last. Eric goes second, and Matt, you picked first, but first, give us those numbers.
Yep. So like I always do, I take the top 10 favorites going into a race. The lines that I pulled are provided by DraftKings, and we'll just start from the top and work our way down to our favorite. So at the top, we have 2 that are tied at plus 1,500 with Daniel Suarez and our new winner, Tyler Reddick. Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, William Byron, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, and Bubba Wallace. All of them as of right now at 6:22 on July 5th, all have the same odds according to DraftKings at plus 1,200. Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, and Ryan Blaney are all 3 of your favorites as of right now heading into Atlanta. It's going to be hot. Hopefully we see a lot of tire wear. It runs very similar to a super speedway. Very interesting. I know all of us enjoyed that race when they ran in the spring. It's supposed to be in the 90s on Sunday. So it's going to be hot. I think it's going to be a really interesting race.
Yeah.
As long as there's no weather that throws this race off, knock on wood, I think we have a potential to see another really, really fun and exciting race. With that being said, I'm picking first. I'm going to try to make it 6 out of 7 for this podcast. I am taking the guy who finished 17th, but averaged a running position of 8th when they were in Atlanta in the spring. Which was second best. He had a driver rating of 105.4. I think this guy is hungry. I think that he's sitting second in points. He needs that win. He wants to shut everybody up. A guy who runs pretty well at super speedways. I am taking Ryan Blaney to win in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I was eyeing him up right off the bat. How about you, Eric? Who you picking for Atlanta?
Well, I wanted to go with Ryan Blaney, but my gut's telling me it's crunch time. My gut's telling me some of these drivers are going to be turning up the heat. I feel like some of these drivers have been getting the shitty end of the stick lately, and I feel like stuff is finally being noticed and being moved around. And if there's one car that deserves to be up front, and it's been up front, and I think this is an opportunity to shut a lot of people up and kind of get back on track and let that dark cloud that's been over him kind of fizzle away and let those blue skies and sunshine through, is those golden arches of that 23 car, Bubba Wallace.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that a Willie Nelson song? Blue skies shining on me. Or no, is that dark skies? Something like that. Man, you guys are just taking all the guys I had in mind. I was thinking Blaney. I was thinking of Bubba. I'm really trying to think of just the guys that are usually up front during super speedway races and are pretty consistent. Denny Hamlin also comes to mind, but I did a fair bit of shitting on Denny Hamlin about 3 minutes ago, so I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to go with a guy who's on the outside looking in. He needs a win to get into the playoffs. He hasn't had a win in over a season and a half. And he used to be really good at Atlanta before the reconfiguration. I am going with the veteran. Robbie Schrey. I'm picking him for you. I'm going with Kevin Harvick. to put the 4-car in victory lane in Atlanta at least one last time.
Boo. It's not the old. It's not the old Atlanta. There's no more Harvick line in Atlanta.
I know it's not, but you guys picked my my 2 picks to win, so I panicked there, and I didn't want to go with Denny because I shit on him literally 5 minutes ago. But that's who I'm going for. Matt, how about the head-to-heads? You got the head-to-heads for us?
I do. So we've got quite a few here, so we're just going to rip through them.
Just do the first couple. I don't think we have to do all of them.
You got it. You got it. All right. So the first one, we've got Ross Chastain, who is minus 120 versus Kyle Busch at plus 100. That's interesting that Ross is the favorite there. Super Speedway, Kyle Busch is just down on himself, on his team right now. He can't seem to get away from that black cloud. Ross is so consistent. Ross could win this race. I'm going with Ross Chastain.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm going with Ross as well. Rowdy super speedways just aren't there for him, man. They just aren't his specialty.
No. Next one up is Chase Elliott versus Bubba Wallace. Chase is the favorite in this head-to-head matchup at minus 120 versus Bubba plus 100. Either guy can win actually win the race, but heads up, I like Eric's pick. I'm taking the underdog here. I'm taking Bubba Wallace versus my guy Chase.
I'm going Bubba Wallace just because I think he's going to be the aggressor. He needs it. He's going to be up front pushing. Chase already sitting there comfortable. So I think the aggressive one here is the 23 car.
Yeah, we just got breaking news earlier in the show that he's going to have Christopher Bell's pit crew on hand. So give me Bubba Wallace to make something happen.
Next one, we have guys that are at a deadlock even heat here. Both are minus 110. It's a toss-up. DraftKings is telling us it's a toss-up anyway. I don't think it is. It's Denny Hamlin versus Joey Logano. Both guys are winners on restrictor. Well, this isn't a restrictor plate, but winners in pack racing, we'll call it.
Yeah.
I think Denny is probably the best pack racer we have, active racer we have. I'm taking Denny Hamlin over Joey Logano.
How about you, Eric?
Yeah, I'm going with Joey Logano. Toyota I think, is in shambles right now. I don't trust that Toyota camp for the life of me. And last time in Atlanta, I think they shit the bed as well. So I'm going to go with the Ford in 22.
Yeah, I was in the same mindset. I was trying to pull up Atlanta from earlier in the season now to see where Denny and Joey Logano finished. I can't find it. I'm going with Logano.
And I'll do one last one here. Slick Willie 2 Clocks, the favorite against Christopher Bell. Slick Willie 2 Clocks is a minus 125. Christopher Bell a plus 105. I'm taking the favorite. I'm taking that 24. Christopher Bell has that awful pit crew coming over to him this week.
Yeah.
He must have, like Whitey said, he must have drew a short straw. I don't know what happened there, how he agreed to that. But I'm staying away from the 20 car. I'm taking that 24.
Yeah, Slick Willie 2 Clocks, defending winner here at Atlanta. How could you bet against the guy that came out here and won last time we came around? And, always good on super speedways. Slick Willie 2 Clocks.
Yeah, give me Slick Willie 2 Clocks. I don't trust that Bubba Wallace pit crew going over to Christopher Bell this weekend. And honestly, I don't really trust Slick Willie 2 Clocks either. I feel like he's cooled off over the last month or two. But maybe the hot Atlanta heat could heat him up and he could get win number 2 in Atlanta for the season and win number 3 overall. So yeah, give me Slick Willie 2 Clocks. Speaking of, we are 18 races in 13 different winners. Those playoff spots are hard to come by right now. We got Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, William Byron, Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Daniel Suarez, and Tyler Reddick all locked themselves into the playoffs so far, barring 16 winners. We'll see what happens, and we will see if we get another new winner this weekend in Atlanta, 3 p.m. for the Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart on USA. Will it be Kevin Harvick getting his first win of the season and in a couple seasons? Will it be Ryan Blaney sitting in second, finally lock himself into the playoffs and you don't have to worry? Or will it be Bubba Wallace with that JGR pit crew behind him winning himself into the playoffs once again. We will see this Sunday, 3 p.m. in Atlanta, and we'll break it all down for you Monday night, back to our regular time right here on the Bump and Run podcast. For Matt, the Statman Riley, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
The Bump and Run.
There it is.